So I want to make this video in case you're in no contact, but you're really starting to feel the emotional weakness. You're starting to feel that panic, that anxiety, that inner voice. A lot of times while you've been in no contact, you're going to get what feels like the universe. It'll feel like fate or manifestation whispering in your ear. Now's the time. Right now, she's waiting to hear from you. He's waiting to hear from you. If you don't act now, you're going to lose them forever. If you do act right now, this will be the first step along this blessed pathway to pull them back in. Or it might just be an emotional panic for multiple reasons. So I'm making this so that when you start to feel panicked, you have something to go back to. Especially if you're a problem solver. It really helps to have a consistent but logic-based answer for why you should stay in no contact, for why you shouldn't do what your mind is going to try its best to convince you that you should do. Like while you're in no contact, you'll get to a point, your mind is triggered by crisis. So your mind, it's like it has an assignment to find all the best reasons to get you to do something. When you're in pain, it's usually in your best interest to do something to change that position. So your own mind is going to work against you. It's going to be very crafty and come up with a long list of undeniable, factual, logical reasons why you should chase, why you should break no contact. So it's good to have reasons to combat that. That's what this video is for. And I want to cover the most common, powerful reasons that your mind will push on you to break no contact. Number one is it's been too long. Now, the funny thing is, been too long might differ depending on the person. I talked to some people that will say, I've been in no contact for 4 months. That's been too long. Other people will say, I've been in no contact for 4 days. It's been too long. You're being flooded by adrenaline. You're being flooded by cortisol. You're being flooded by vasopressin. It's like all your hormones, everything about you is trying to get you to act. So 4 days can seem like it's been too long, especially if you hadn't gone that long before. But you have to give it time. In most situations, in most relationships, if they're the one that broke up with you, their ego, their sense of strength, their sense of power, their sense of ego, their sense of importance is going to be higher. They're the ones that made the decision to push away from you. They're the one that made the decision to walk away. Even though the two of you are going through the same breakup, you're not going through the same experience. If they broke up with you, they just took access to them away from you. They have all the power, you have none. If you wanted to have dinner with them, if you wanted to spend the weekend with them, you know they've already broken up with you. They've walked away. So you don't have the power to contact them and make sure that you can see them tonight, tomorrow, during the holidays, whatever. On the other hand, they have all the power. They're the ones that walked away. You're the one watching this video. You're the one that wants them back. They know it. So the two of you are both going through a breakup, yes, but you're not going through the same experience. So their ego at this point in time is getting inflated. Their sense of self-worth is going up. They walked away from you. They walked away from somebody who wants them. If they've got somebody else interested in them, that means they have at least two people that are chasing after them. That ego is going to keep going up. Meanwhile, you just had somebody that you trusted, valued you, wanted you in their life, walk away from you. Your sense of worth is going down. That's why you're having the compulsion to chase. But you're chasing somebody who's feeling really good about themselves right now. What reason do they have to set aside that feeling of being valued? That sense of power, that sense of finally being in control, especially if they weren't in control through the majority of the relationship. Why would they give that up now? Because you're hurting? Your pain is a very strong motivator for you to pursue them, but your pain is a very poor motivator for them to be caught. They're feeling strong, you're feeling wounded. You being wounded is not going to take them out of that sense of, I'm finally in control of my life. Your pain is a very powerful motivator for you to chase. You want to change the emotional circumstances. You want to get out of this pain. You want that anxiety, that gnawing at your gut, that pain in your chest. You want that to go away. That's a really strong, compulsive reason to make you chase them. But from their perspective, that's a really poor reason to come back to you. So you have to stop and look at things through their point of view. And the core problem with asking yourself, have I been in no contact too long, is that you're not looking at it from their point of view. You're looking at it from your pain point of view. I've been in no contact for 3 weeks or for 3 months, which means it's not working, which means I need to change something. Okay, change to what though? Do you have a better strategy? I know you've been in no contact for a long time and it hurts, but you being in pain doesn't mean that there's a better approach or a better strategy. It just means your pain is making you want to try something else. But the something else you're going to try out of pain is probably going to lower their attraction to you. It's going to reinforce the idea that they haven't lost you. It's really hard to miss somebody that you can't lose. So when somebody says, okay, it's been 3 months, should I reach out now? I think I've been in no contact for too long. Well, okay, maybe it feels that you've been in no contact for too long, but what's changed from their point of view? Last they heard from you, you wanted them back. Last you heard from them, they didn't want to be with you. Again, one of the metaphors that I believe in, look at your relationship like a house. When they broke up with you, they're asking you to move out of that house. If you didn't want the breakup, you're both going to know that emotionally, even though you have to leave the house, you're going to camp out on the porch. So you reaching out to them 2 or 3 months after no contact, what you're really telling them is, even after 2 or 3 months, I'm still on the porch. I'm still right here. Maybe they were just starting to think that they'd lost you. Maybe they were just starting to second guess the loss of you. Maybe the new relationship they were in was just starting to come out of limerence. But your pursuit can actually reignite the limerence with the other person. It can also tear down the idea that you're strong enough to live without them. Now that might sound like a scary thing, strong enough to live without them. I don't want them to think I'm strong enough to live without them. I want them to know I still love them. But again, that's coming at it from your perspective. You want them to know you're strong enough to live without them. Strength is attractive. Endless dependence, desperate, repeated pursuit is not. So a lot of times you might even reach out after 3 months and get a positive response because their ego is relieved that you still want them. But normally what I see after 3 months, if you reach out, you might get a positive response back. And then they're going to push you back out on the porch again. It's almost like they're saying, oh, well, it feels good to know that you do still want me. I was starting to think I'd actually lost you. But now that I know that you're still there and you haven't actually gotten over me at all, oh, I feel better. I feel so much better that I don't need to step back into this relationship. So thanks for giving me that emotional ego boost that I needed to keep going without you. So take a deep breath. If you've invested enough time to prove that you're strong enough to live without them, keep letting that build. I've seen, I don't know how many, I've seen literally dozens and dozens of people come back after 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. I know it's not something that you want to hear. And a lot of people will tell you that you should act out right now, but don't. Take a deep breath. You've actually not only proven, if you've gone 3 months, you've actually not only proven to them that you're strong enough to live without them, which is attractive, you've proven to yourself. You probably started no contact thinking you weren't strong enough to leave them alone that long, but you did it. Doesn't it feel good to have that kind of self-admiration for yourself? To know that even in the middle of all this pain, you're still strong enough, you're still resilient enough to remember your worth, even when you're being rejected? Doesn't at least that feel good? Do you really want to hand that back over to them so they can re-reject you and you can start over from day one all over again? Number two, I hear this all the time. I don't care. It's worth the risk. It's been 2 months. It's been 2 weeks, whatever it is. I just need to know. I need to do something. So even though I might get turned down, it's okay. I don't even care. I just need closure. I don't believe that when people say that, because number one, if you really don't care, then why reach out? If you don't care either way, wouldn't you rather let the no contact keep proving that you're strong enough to live without them? Wouldn't you rather let the no contact prove to yourself that you have enough value, you have enough meaning in your own life, that you don't need somebody who's chosen to reject you? If you really don't care either way, why do it? And a lot of times we can convince ourselves of it. Again, that crisis is going to play games with you. Your own mind is trying to deceive you. So your own mind will tell you, I don't care. I don't care if they say no, just reach out to do it. This is the final piece of closure that I need. Well, ask yourself, well, if I really don't care, why am I putting myself back into the lower pursuit, repeated rejection scenario? If I really don't care, why don't I just keep proving to myself and to them that I don't need somebody who's chosen to walk away? That way I have more of my dignity. Because a lot of times people will tell themselves they don't care, reach out, get re-rejected, and now they find themselves back in the pain. Sometimes people will call me and say, I'm calling you because I was doing no contact. I thought I was doing really well. And then I reached out and they just rejected me again. So I'm calling you because I really think I sabotaged it beyond repair this time. So if you're telling yourself that, take a deep breath and prove to yourself you mean it when you say you're okay either way. Great, congratulations. You don't need it. So then don't do it. Number 3 reason I hear a lot, it's just too hard. I just need to know. I can't take this anymore. Well, normally if you're saying that, you've been doing no contact half right way, half wrong way. Half right way is you actually kind of, you're fingernailing it. You're gritting your teeth, and every day you're making sure you don't reach out. But every day you're probably looking online. You're probably checking their social media. You're probably talking to their friends. You're probably doing clever things like checking their Vimeo or checking their Spotify. You're finding clever little ways to gather information about them, but you're still allowing yourself to hyper-focus in on them. When you do that, and this happens to some of the most intelligent, successful, accomplished clients that I have, that intelligence will work against you. If you're a gifted problem solver, that gifted problem solving part of your mind is going to be triggered in no contact to think of all these clever little ways to get information on your ex, because you're telling yourself, the more information I have, the better my strategy. The better my strategy, the better the likelihood that I win them back. So it's actually really wise of me to find clever little insightful genius ways to get information and to find out what they're doing and who they're with. That's going to help me in the long run. No, it won't. The more you allow yourself to stay hyper-focused on them, even if they don't know it, the more obsessed you're getting. And even though on the outside, it might look like you're strong enough to live without them, on the inside, what you're doing every day is reinforcing to yourself that you can't live without them. You're reinforcing to yourself that without them, you'll never really be happy. That's why it's getting harder and harder and harder. So now you're about to do something to relieve this anxiety, to relieve this pressure. There's this voice that's saying, do it, do it, do it. And in your mind, you'll even convince yourself that breaking no contact is the brave, authentic, strong thing to do. You'll have thoughts like, I know some people would say it's weak for me to keep chasing, but I love them so much, I'm willing to be seen as weak. And that takes strength to be willing to be seen as weak. They might reject me, but I'm strong enough and brave enough that I'm willing to risk being rejected. And surely they'll see that me reaching out to them is actually brave. It's actually being motivated by my authentic, deep, enduring, eternal love for them. And surely that's going to touch some deep down part of them that will remind them ultimately that we belong together. So even though I'm putting my ego on the line by reaching out to them again, I think deep down they're actually going to admire it. No, they won't. They might pity it. They might have sympathy for you. But pity, sympathy, and guilt over the breakup are not attraction builders. They're attraction drainers. It's really hard to feel strong, sexual, passionate attraction for somebody that you're pitying, especially if you're pitying them because you walked away from them. I mean, think about it. When you've broken up with somebody, does pity and sympathy make you go, oh man, I want them so much right now? Or does it make you want to just kind of give them a hug and see them as a friend, see them as somebody in need? Admiration is usually one of the strongest aspects of attraction. It's really hard to have admiration and sympathy and guilt all at the same time in terms of a relationship that you're walking away from. So if it's too hard to stay in no contact, imagine how hard it's going to be when you reach out, get rejected again, and then start second guessing yourself and beating yourself up thinking, I had at least started to show that I was strong enough to live without them, and then I sabotaged it. Now I'm back to square one. So if it's hard right now, getting re-rejected is not going to make it easier. So just take a deep breath. The next thing I hear a lot is they're just too stubborn. And this is the number one thing I hear from men talking about women that walked away. And they'll even say this, I've seen some of your videos. I know you say that it's a common thing that the ex is too stubborn or too prideful. But you don't know my ex. My ex really is too prideful. My ex really is too stubborn. They never come back. And besides, it's worked in the past. So trust me, my ex, it really is. If I don't reach out, I'm never going to get them back. All right, well then think about what you're saying. What you're saying is, I mean so little to my ex that even if they miss me, even if they realize they love me, even if they realize that I'm the one they want to spend the rest of their lives with, if I don't step in first, they're willing to walk away from me. Well, does that mean your ex really loves you? Do you really want to go back to somebody who values you in their life so little that they put their pride above just a simple reach out? And I'm not saying that you have to wait for them to come back and beg and plead and cry for another chance. But if they're the ones that walked away from you, if they're the ones that rejected you, and the last they heard from you is that you still want to be with them, if they don't value you enough to just reach out and say hi, like most of the time when women come back, they don't come back with a long 2 or 3 page letter describing how much they regret breaking up with you, telling you how sorry they are, admitting all the flaws. In most cases, when women come back, they come back with a little bit of a tester. They'll just give you a text on a Friday night or a Saturday night, just a hey, just a hi. They might just say, how have you been? But at least let them be the one to break the ice. At least let them be the one to initiate. That proves that you were strong enough to live without them. Most women don't want to be with a man who isn't strong enough to live without them. Let me say that again. Most women don't want to be with a man who isn't capable and strong enough to live without them. Yes, they want to be the most important person in your life, but most women don't want to be the center of your life. Most women don't want to be your purpose, your identity. They don't want to be the sun in your solar system. They want to be with a man that's strong, that's dominant in his field, that's capable of success, that has a strong sense of identity with or without that woman. They want to share a life together. They want to share an adventure together. They don't want to be the center of that man's universe. That's clingy. That's not love. That's worship. And worship isn't attractive to women. Men just kind of have this idea that if I can prove I love them most and I love them eternally and that I'll fight for them no matter what, including their rejection of me, then that'll prove that I'm the one they're supposed to be with. That's not attractive. That actually projects desperation, weakness, clinginess. Women are not attracted to that for the most part. But this one is very closely tied to another belief which says chasing has worked in the past. Okay, so my first question, if chasing has worked in the past, me chasing them, is what's led us to have a really strong, long-lasting, stable relationship. Well, if that's the case, why aren't they with you now? A lot of times what happens, if you get in the pattern of chasing and winning them back, chasing and winning them back, every time they come back because you chased, you're accidentally programming them to believe that they can't lose you. You're convincing them over and over again. You're programming them to believe that anytime there's a threat of the relationship ending, you'll reaffirm to them that you don't want to live without them. And the attraction is draining more and more and more. That's why you have to keep chasing. Even if they come back, it's like every time they come back, they're a little bit more sure that if they break up with you again, you'll come after them again. So you're draining the strength that attracted them to you in the first place. So eventually, it'll chase, break up, chase, break up, chase, break up, gone. So if they're gone longer this time, don't keep programming. Don't keep following the same pattern that leads to these repeated breakups. Maybe take the chance to show that, hey, even though I chased you in the past, don't think I chased you in the past because I'm not strong enough to live without you. If you keep walking away from me, maybe you're suddenly going to convince me that you're not the one for me. If you keep walking away from me and I have to keep chasing you, I'm going to take an opportunity to show you that I didn't chase you out of desperation. I didn't chase you because I'm not strong enough to live without you. I chased you because I loved you. But if I have to chase you 5, 6, 7 times, maybe you're not the person I'm supposed to be with. Because I don't want to be with somebody I have to keep auditioning for. I don't want to be with somebody that every day I wake up or every week I wake up, I wonder, is this the day? What you're training them to do is take you for granted. Stop playing a role in your own devaluing. So take this opportunity to show them that you're strong enough to live without them. No contact isn't just to project to them that you're strong enough to live without them. No contact is supposed to be you remembering that you actually are strong enough to live without them. And that your life has meaning, your life has value with them or without them. If your life doesn't have value without them, then you're not going to have much value to them. Another one of the really powerful motivators is, but I caused the breakup. Okay, this one's tricky, right? So if you caused the breakup, and I mean you undeniably caused it. I don't mean you caused it because you were imperfect. I don't mean you caused it because you're just humanly flawed. I mean, anybody, the best of us can take a long look at ourselves. Like, I love my wife. She's the love of my life. We've been together about 10 years. If I stopped for even less than 5 minutes, I could come up with a long list of things that I've gotten wrong, ways that I've hurt her, things I should have handled better. That doesn't mean I've done anything worthy of her leaving me. I can be sorry for the imperfections, but unless I actually caused the breakup, like, did you cheat on them? Like, did you cheat on them? Did you repeatedly ignore them? Did you repeatedly devalue them? Here's a good test to find out if you actually caused the breakup. Tell your friends why you think you caused the breakup. If your friends and your family are telling you, yeah, that's pretty messed up. Even though I'm on your side because I'm your friend and I'm your family, I'm on their side. I think they should have broken up with you. If your friends and your family agree that you caused the breakup, you probably caused the breakup. If what you're asking them to forgive you for is something that you wouldn't forgive them for, then you probably caused the breakup. But a lot of times somebody will tell me, I really think I caused them. I think I'm the reason that they walked away. It's my fault. Well, what did you do? Is what you did to them so bad that if they did it to you, you couldn't forgive them? If what you're beating yourself up for, did they do it to you? Would you have left them if they had done it to you? So there's a couple of litmus tests to find out if you actually caused the breakup. Your pain, your mind, your fear of losing them will many times convince you that you caused the breakup. I talk to people all the time that are actually in a relationship where they've been abused and have been the victim of really toxic behavior, but they believe they caused the breakup. I wasn't very understanding when I found out he was cheating on me for the 3rd time. I wasn't very understanding when I found out she emptied the bank account and went on a weekend getaway with her ex-lover and left me with the kids. I should have been understanding because she was feeling a lot of emotional pressure, so I caused the breakup. You might not have, but if you did, let's assume you really did. Okay, well then take accountability. Articulate understanding for the pain that you caused them. Don't make your pain the point of the apology. Own up to what you did. But your repeated pursuit of them is not evidence that you're really sorry. It's evidence that you don't want to carry the emotional pain or consequences for a circumstance that you created. If you are really sorry for the breakup that you caused, let them have the life without you that they've chosen to have. So this is fake motivation. Yeah, but I've really changed. Well, maybe you have really changed, but if you've really changed, let them have life without you. Because maybe it's a consequence for what you did if you really did cause the breakup. And don't make the mistake of thinking that owning it and apologizing for it repeatedly, instinctively we kind of think, well, I took them for granted for 5 years. So I owe them 5 years of apology. I owe them 5 years of groveling. I owe them 5 years of lowering my value and disrespecting myself by endlessly chasing the person who's told me they don't want to be with me. Your endless sorrow and endless pursuit isn't evidence that you're truly sorry. It might be evidence that you're a narcissist. This is a situation where even a narcissist feels overwhelming pain and regret and shows endless pursuit of the person walking away. And it's not really because they're sorry and they're empathizing with the person they hurt. It's because they're unwilling to take the consequences of a situation they created. So I would challenge you, if you really did cause the breakup, apologize, take accountability, own it. But if you're really sorry, you'd be willing to take the consequences of the end of the relationship that you caused if that's what makes them happier. And even if you want them back, it's better to acknowledge, take accountability for your mistake, and then try to rebuild that sense of strength. Try to keep projecting strength. If you really caused the breakup, but you won't stop apologizing for it, the first apology seems sincere. Apology number 2 through 2000 seems like desperation and weakness. In other words, if I apologize to my wife because I got something wrong, she'll believe me if I apologize the first time. If I keep apologizing over and over and over, she starts to think that the apology was coming from desperation and weakness on my part, not necessarily any form of sincerity. If I was really sorry for what I did, I'd be willing to live with the consequences that come from that. And then the last thing, I'm afraid they're going to meet somebody else. Okay, again, so this is coming from your perspective. You afraid they're going to meet somebody else is a fear that you have. It's a logical fear that you have. That's going to motivate you to come up with really creative reasons and a really intense motivation to share your changed heart. If you're afraid they're going to meet somebody else, you have this instinct, I need to let them know somehow that I'm the one they should choose. How do I let them know I'm the one that they should choose? Well, if they knew how desperately I wanted them, that's really strong evidence to me we belong together. So if they knew how desperately I wanted them, if they knew how intensely sorry I was for what I got wrong, if they knew all the ways that I have insight into how I could change and be even better if they would just give us one more chance. So my insights, my pain, and my willingness to change, these are all really powerful reasons that prove to me we belong together. I bet it would prove to them we belong together too. No, it won't. Those are strong motivators for you. But you keep throwing those reasons at them, all they hear is, this person is desperate without me. This person is too weak to live without me. This person is not strong enough to just move on. So you're building their ego while you're lowering your self-respect, and you're making it impossible for you to project the strength that's attractive to them that might make them reconsider the breakup. It's instinctive. It's part of human nature. We start to re-question and re-examine, re-estimate the value of what's lost when we realize it's lost. Like one of the examples I give is if I bought a new couch, so I'm throwing out my old couch because I'm tired of it. I've come to take it for granted. So I throw it out at the end of the driveway. I don't want it anymore. Well, if I look outside and see 3 or 4 people looking at my couch, arguing over my couch, they want my couch. All of a sudden, wait, somebody else is giving value to something that I've discarded. Wait, maybe I was wrong. I'm going to get on Google. I'm going to try to look up antique couches. Oh, wow, my couch is actually worth a lot more to everybody else. It hasn't changed the impact it's had on my life, but now that I know it has value to everybody else, hey, everybody get away from my couch, and I'm going to bring it back in. But it's really hard to trigger that instinctive re-examination of what's lost if it can't be lost. So stop thinking that maybe they're going to meet somebody else, so I'll endlessly pursue them in a way that's completely unattractive, and that'll stop them from saying yes to somebody else. No, it won't. If you think somebody else is involved, it's even more imperative that you project strength, not repeated endless desperation and weakness. So if I thought my ex had a strong potential to date somebody else, I'm going to think, well, it's even more important that I project strength. I really need to start showing that I'm strong enough to live without them. It seems unnatural. It seems illogical. But that's because we convince ourselves in a breakup that desperation and pain, because it's motivation or evidence to us of how valuable the relationship is, it'll be evidence to them of how valuable this relationship is. It's not true. Take a deep breath and always remember projecting strength is 10 times, 1,000 times more attractive than projecting endless desperation. And look, if you've been in no contact too long and it's getting hard, chances are you've got the one aspect of no contact, it's probably a little bit off. You're probably putting all your energy into not showing on the outside that you're in pursuit of them, but internally, you're still letting yourself focus on them too much. Make a long list. Do this for me. If you're really tempted enough to reach out and break no contact, tempted enough to watch this video, do a couple of exercises for me. Number 1, do a long list of the disadvantages, the flaws, the things wrong with the person that right now you're convinced is perfect. The person that you think is the only person for you is not the only person for you. You're under a spell right now. You've got a lot of hormones. Your brain, your emotional crisis is convincing you that you'll never get over them, that they're irreplaceable. You've kind of brainwashed yourselves into seeing them as the perfected version of who they really are. You need to remind yourself of the drawbacks, of the flaws, of the disadvantages of being with them. Write down a long list of them and remind yourself. And I'm not trying to get you to hate them. I'm trying to get you to actually see them as who they really are. Chances are, while you were in the relationship, you didn't see them as perfect, not as perfect as they seem to you now. The other thing to do, make a long list of the things about you that are good, that are exceptional, accomplishments, gifts, advantages that come with being with you. Because right now, the spell you're under is convincing you that they're perfect and you're unwantable. And you have evidence of that. To you, they are irreplaceable. You know all the things about them that set them apart from every other human in the world. So to you, they are quite literally irreplaceable. At the same time, you're seeing yourself through their eyes. It's like an empathy vision that we have with the person we love. We see ourselves through the eyes of the person that we love. Right now, the person you love is seeing you as somebody rejectable, somebody that's not worth being with. So that's how you feel about yourself. You feel not only unwanted, you feel unwantable because the person you love the most is certain that you're the one person they don't want to be with. So you kind of have to bring yourself out of that spell that you're under. Remind yourself consistently of their flaws, of the disadvantages of being with them, the things in the moment that you were with them made you unhappy. And remind yourself of the moments of pride, the moments of feeling really happy and lucky to be who you are. Remind yourself of your best moments. And normally the attacks that you're feeling are going to come in the morning and they're going to come at night and when you're on long drives. So try to have some kind of a focus. Try to have some kind of a passion or a project that you're focused on that's a consistent value reminder of who you are. And try to have this helped me a lot when I was going through it. I have these little earbuds. So if you're going at night or in the morning or a long drive, try to have something to listen to, something to let your mind lock onto. It won't knock all the pain away, but it'll just lessen the pain so that it's bearable. It'll kind of help you stay functional. You want your mind to kind of have something else to focus on other than instinctively mind locking onto this relationship and ways to get them back. The anxiety and the fear will overwhelm you if you don't have something to put your mind on. And remind yourself of your own value. Remind yourself of what I'm saying is really true. It might not feel true, but human beings were never meant to be the purpose of another human being's life. Like me, I believe in God. I believe in Christ. So I have a purpose. I have an identity. I have a meaning to my life that is stronger than somebody else and their opinion of me in my life. Now, that might not be the case for you, but there needs to be something in your life, something about your identity, something about your purpose that is stronger and more important than how anybody else feels about you. Again, my wife is the most important person in my life, but she's not the center of my life. And if she was, it wouldn't be attractive to her. So remind yourself of your value, your purpose, and your plan to be here. And it's got to be something other than how they feel about you. So I know every situation is different. So if I can help, you can find me at realcoachken.com. And if this has been any value to you, please give me a like, subscribe, or a follow. Or if you know somebody going through a really painful breakup, I hope you'll consider sending this to them. But I'll be back again soon. So thanks a lot.